Hello friends, in this video we will be solving some practice problems as well as gate problems based on first order and second order system. Let us begin. So look at question number 1 which is displayed on the screen. The unit impulse response of a system having transfer function k upon s plus alpha is shown above. And what they are asking you the value of alpha, and they have provided us four options. Let us see how to deal with this. As they said, this is nothing but an impulse response. So what they have provided us is nothing but h of t, because h of t is what we called as an impulse response. As you can see over here, this is nothing but a transfer function, and transfer function means h of s. H of s is equal to, I can say it is k upon s plus alpha. By inverse Laplace, I can get h of t, which is nothing but an impulse response. So what they have provided is also impulse response, but that impulse response information is given in a graphical way. So this is nothing but a graphical information of h of t. That is nothing but an impulse response. And now what I'm getting is also h of t, that is nothing but impulse response, but I'll get a mathematical expression. So h of t, I can say by inverse Laplace I can write k times e to the power minus alpha t dot u of t. So even if I don't specify as u of t, I can write it is valid for t greater than 0. So this will also do. So this is the value of h of t that we have. What they are asking you the value of alpha. So the clue is, you know what, they have provided us two time instants here, t1 and t2, and the respective values are also given. That is, at t1 what is the value of h of t, it is 0.63k, and what is the value at t equal to t2, it is 0.37k. So let us use this information and try to get the value of alpha in terms of t1 and t2. Why I'm saying that you have to calculate in terms of t1 and t2, because look at the options. So you have to work in a way the options are given. So by given data I'm writing the value of h of t at t equal to t1, it is 0.63k. Am I right? And the value of h of t at t equal to t2, it is how much? It is 0.37k. So this is nothing but a given data. So this is a given data, as in we have actually derived this data from the given graph. And now let me write the h of t expression. The h of t expression is nothing but k times e to the power minus alpha t. Am I right? So what I'll do is, now I'll say at t equal to t1, I would say h of t at t equal to t1 is equal to k times e to the power minus alpha t1, and h of t at t equal to t1 is known to me, which is 0.63k. Am I right? So I can write 0.63k is equal to k times e to the power minus alpha t1. So here k and k will get cancelled. As you can see in this expression, I would say only alpha is unknown. Reason, actually t1 is also unknown, but it doesn't matter. I have to really calculate my alpha in terms of t1. So how do we calculate this? Very easy. Just take a natural log on both the sides. So what will happen? It would be ln of 0.63, and this is equal to minus alpha t1 ln of e. Am I right? How do we get this? You know that log of a to the power b is equal to b log a. So by using this approach, we have done this. And of course, ln of e, that is nothing but a natural log of e, it is always 1. So what is left is I can write alpha equal to ln of 0.63 upon minus t1. Am I right? So just calculate ln of 0.63 in your GET calculator or a scientific calculator. You'll get alpha equal to, so ln of 0.63 comes out to be minus of 0.462, but since we have already a negative sign in the denominator, I can write as 0.462 by t1. So this is the possible value of alpha in terms of t1. And now if you go through the options, you will see that there is no option which matches with this. So what I ultimately want to do is, I want to now match my alpha in terms of t2. So I'll try to get my alpha in terms of t2, and again I'll go through the options and I'll see which option matches with this. So at t equal to t2, what is the value of h of t? The value of h of t is 0.37k. Then I can write 0.37k, and on right hand side I'm going to write a standard expression for h of t, which is k times e to the power minus alpha, but this time I'll specify t2. Again k and k gets cancelled. By using the same approach, I can write my t2 equal to ln of 0.37 divided by minus t2. So here it comes out to be 0.99. On left hand side there has to be alpha, so I need to correct this. What we have over here is alpha, so alpha equal to, now it is 0.999 times t2, in fact divided by t2, so this is nearly equal to 1 upon t2. So let us go back to the problem and see. If you look at the options, it is nothing but option D. So it is 1 upon t2. So the value of alpha has come out to be 1 upon t2. Even though we had alpha in terms of t1 also, but since it is not matching with the options, we have discarded others. So alpha is equal to 1 upon t2 would be the correct answer. I hope you have understood the problem. With this, let us move to the next problem. Open loop transfer function of unity feedback system is 10 upon s minus 2. The time constant of corresponding closed loop system is. So let us begin with this. So try to understand what they have given us our transfer function, that is nothing but g of s, which is equal to 10 upon s minus 2, and of course h of s equal to 1, because they have specified it is a unity feedback system. Am I right? Now with this, I can easily determine the highest power of s in the denominator of g of s. Since it is 1, I can say order of the system is equal to 1. Let me remind you something. Actually, we determine the order from a closed loop transfer function. This is not a closed loop transfer function. This is just an open loop transfer function. Am I right? Because I'm just trying to determine the order directly from g of s. Let me remind you, this is possible only and only if h of s equal to 1. That is nothing but a unity feedback system. So here, since highest power of s in the denominator of g of s is equal to 1, I would say that it is a first order system. Am I right? This is nothing but a first order system. So what I'll do is, I'll try to get now a transfer function, that is nothing but a closed loop transfer function. So this g of s is nothing but open loop transfer function. What I want is a closed loop transfer function, which is nothing but g of s upon 1 plus g of s h of s. If they have not specified, believe as a negative feedback, and therefore you find this positive sign. So this is for always a negative feedback. So let us substitute the value. So it is 10 by s minus 2 whole divided by 1 plus 10 upon s minus 2 multiplied by 1. So after solving, you'll get closed loop transfer function equal to 10 upon s minus 2 plus 10. So after solving, you'll get 10 upon s plus 8. Am I right? So this is nothing but a closed loop transfer function. So what I'll do is I'll take 8 common from the denominator. What remains inside? 1 plus s upon 8, and what we have in the numerator equal to 10. So it is nothing but 10 by 8 in the numerator I can take, or I can write this as 5 by 4 divided by 1 plus. I can also write this as 1 upon 8 times s. Why I'm writing in this form? Because you should know that the standard form of a closed loop transfer function for a first order, if you remember, it was k upon 1 plus s tau, where tau stands for a time constant. Am I right? So here, if you compare, the value of k comes out to be 5 by 4. Am I right? The coefficient of s in the denominator is tau, and tau stands for time constant. In this case, the coefficient of s is 1 by 8. Now I can say the corresponding time constant for this closed loop system is 1 by 8. I hope you understood this. This is nothing but a time constant for a given system, for a closed loop system. So what they have provided us, an open loop transfer function with unity feedback. So from this we came to a closed loop transfer function by using simple formula g upon 1 plus gh, believing that this is a negative feedback system, and then after solving we compared with a standard form of first order system, and from this now we have got a time constant. Please remember, the time constant unit is always seconds. Let's move to the next problem. So the question says a causal system having transfer function h of s equal to 1 divided by s plus 2 is excited with an input of 10 times u of t. You know that 10 times u of t means it is a step signal with amplitude equal to 10. The time at which output reaches to 90% of its steady state value is. Let's try to tackle this question. The transfer function is actually 1 upon s plus 2. It means it is nothing but a closed loop transfer function. So it goes this way. We have some system having transfer function as 1 upon s plus 2, and now this is excited with an input 10 times u of t. Am I right? So in general what we say, this is nothing but a reference input r of t, this is nothing but c of t, and c of t stands for controlled output. Am I right? So what generally happens is some reference input is given to you. Am I right? And then system goes this way. That is nothing but output response we have already seen for first order system. Please don't forget this is a first order system. We have already studied. This is the way we get the response. Am I right? So we will have some steady state value. We don't know what is a steady state value. So when I say 100% steady state value, it is nothing but the final value. But what they are asking you is not 100%, but what they are asking you is the 90% of the highest steady state value. Am I right? So let us try to discuss this now. We have already seen the standard first order system, which looks like this. That is 1 upon 1 plus s tau. If you don't remember, I would request you to go back to the first order system lecture that I have made you understand. It is always 1 upon 1 plus s tau. In general, of course, in the numerator, we may not have 1, we may have k, but then what happens when this is not equal to 1? That we have to discuss. So what I'll do is I'll try to convert in this way. As you can see, we don't have 1. I mean, we have definitely 1 here in standard function, but we don't have 1 here, right? So let us try to convert it into a standard form. So what will happen is it would be 1 upon, I'll take 2 common. What we will have in the denominator is 1 plus 1 by 2 times s. Am I right? Or I can write this way. It is half divided by 1 plus half into s. And now if I compare with 1 upon s tau in the denominator, the value of tau comes out to be how much? Half. and the numerator is nothing but k. Here k is equal to how much? It is half. So let me tell you, if the numerator is equal to 1, that is nothing but k value equal to 1, it is called as a standard first order system. So in this case, I cannot say it is a standard form because the value of k is not 1. Value of k in our case, it is half. So as I said, what happens when it is other than 1? Let us discuss this. So let us assume if it is 1 upon 1 plus s tau form. As you can see in the numerator, I am writing 1 deliberately because I believe that here k equal to 1, and the input that we have given, it is 10 times u of t. I'm sure you know how it looks like. It is nothing but a step input with amplitude equal to 10 for t greater than 0, and of course for t less than 0 it is always 0. So this kind of reference input given, am I right? This is called as a reference input r of t, and we have to see what is the output c of t. That is nothing but a controlled output. We have already studied this kind of system, so let me put it this way. The c of t can be plotted this way. So this is nothing but a reference input, which is nothing but 10, and then the final value or final steady state value will be of course equal to 10. Am I right? But in this case, what has happened, for the same input, that is 10 times u of t, so same input I'm drawing over here, which is now given to a system which looks like this. What we have in the numerator is half 1 plus s tau. Okay, in this case tau is equal to half, so you know what, tau can be anything, it doesn't matter to us. And now we are looking for c of t. Am I right? So let me go this way. Of course, if you look at the reference input, that is nothing but r of t, of course it is 10. There is no second thought over it. But let me tell you, in the numerator over here, half is the problem. So since this is not equal to 1, this becomes a problem. So what the problem says, even though the reference input is equal to 10, the steady state value will not be 10, but it will be half of 10. I repeat, since the numerator is not equal to 1, even though the reference input is equal to 10, the steady state output will not reach to 10, but it will reach to only half of it. I hope you got my point. So for this system, what will happen? The steady state value will not be equal to 10, but a half of it. So it will only reach to 5 and not equal to 10. Again, since we have half in the numerator, therefore I'm just making half of the reference input. What if we have 1 by 3? Then it would be 1 by third will be the steady state value. Am I right? I hope you understood this. So if we don't have half over here, let's say we have 1 by 3 over here, then the final value will be 10 by 3, right? So what we have a final value, or I would say final steady state value, is equal to 5. Why I'm just trying to emphasize on this, because let us go back to the question. I'll clear my point. We have to find the time at which output reaches to 90% of its steady state value. So let me remind you once again, for us, the steady state value is not equal to 10. The steady state value is equal to 5. And we have to get 90% of the steady state value, that is nothing but 90% of 5 and not 90% of 10. I hope you got my point. And it is all because in the numerator we don't have 1. What we have in numerator is half. So let me tell you, 90% of 5 will be 4.5. Am I right? So 4.5 is nothing but 90% of 5. So this is nothing but 90% of a final value or final steady state value. And we have to, find this t equal to what? I hope now you have understood the question. See, let me tell you, just because I'm trying to tell you the number of steps, or you know what, the things which are involved, the theory behind it, and therefore only it is taking time. But then when it comes to, the day at which you will be giving the exam and such questions are appeared, if your concepts are clear, let me tell you, practically it takes only 2 minutes to solve this problem. So let us go ahead with our discussion. So this is nothing but your actual C of t, am I right? That is nothing but a controlled output. So we have to find the time at which it is reaching to 4.5, that is nothing but 90% of the final steady state value. So let me remind you, our closed loop transfer function that we had, or I would just say transfer function that we have, it is 1 upon s plus 2. Am I right? So when I'm saying it is a closed loop transfer function, it means it is C of s upon R of s, which is equal to 1 upon s plus 2. Here, if you see R of t, it is 10 times u of t. Am I right? Please don't forget that. Because of which now I can say R of s is equal to 10 by s. Let me substitute over here. So I'll get C of s as 1 upon, or I would say in the numerator we have 10 divided by s into s plus 2. What I want is C of t, and what I have is C of s. The only way is to take inverse Laplace. But then, since the given C of s is not in a proper format where I can actually go on inverse Laplacing, but what I can do is I can take a partial fraction and I'll make it in appropriate form. So I can now write this way: C of s is equal to a upon s plus b upon s plus 2. I'm sure you know how to do a partial fraction, so I'm not going to teach you how to go for partial fraction. Let me give you direct values. Value of a is equal to 5 and value of b is minus 5. So let me substitute. What I have is C of s, so it is 5 upon s minus 5 upon s plus 2. So by inverse Laplace, what I'll get, C of s as C of t. So I can take 5 common. What remains inside is 1, that is nothing but inverse Laplace of 1 upon s is 1 minus 1 upon s plus 2's inverse Laplace is e to the power minus 2t times u of t. So it is whole multiplied with u of t, but it's okay if you don't write u of t and just mention that this is valid only for t greater than 0. Am I right? Finally, we have C of t expression, that is nothing but a mathematical expression for C of t. Am I right? So let me remind you, what I want to do is, I already had my C of t as a graphical information this way. So this is nothing but the final value. I have to, go up to only 4.5 because they are asking you 90% of 5, that is 90% of steady state value, and I have to calculate this t equal to what? Am I right? So at that particular time, my C of t becomes how much? 4.5, which is equal to 5 into 1 minus e to the power minus 2t. And you know what? In this equation, only one thing is unknown, that is nothing but t. Am I right? So if you divide 4.5 divided by 5, it comes out to be 0.1, which is equal to e to the power minus 2t. So even I have adjusted this one also. After that, I'm getting 0.1 on left hand side. Again, by using the similar concept that we have done in the last problem, by having, natural log on both the sides, you'll get t value equal to 1.51. So I need to correct this. It is not 1.51. It is in fact 1.515 seconds. So this is nothing but the final value of t. Let's go back to the question. They were asking you the time at which the output reaches to 90% of its steady state value, which is equal to 1.151 seconds. I hope now you got this point. Let's move to the next question. The open loop transfer function of a DC motor is given as W of S upon VA of S. Look at this. this is nothing but transfer function of a DC motor. Fine, let's move ahead. When connected in feedback as shown, as you can see, it is a unity feedback. So unity feedback is given. The approximate value of Ka, as you can see, Ka, that will reduce the time constant of closed loop system by 100 times as compared to that of open loop system is. I hope you understood the question. What I want, the approximated value of Ka, this is nothing but some gain, which will reduce the time constant of closed loop system by 100 times as compared to open loop system is. So you know what, for open loop system, whatever time constant I'll get, okay, if you want to reduce it by 100 times, what should be the value of Ka? Now we haven't started with a chapter called as controller, but still let me talk about it. In general, this closed loop control system, this is what we called as plant, and this is called as controller. This is called as controller. And in fact, when we will study controller, you will find that there are many types of controller, like proportional controller or integral controller or a derivative controller, or even in combination like proportional plus derivative, proportional plus integrator, or PID controller also. In this case, this type of controller is what we called as a proportional controller. So here the type of controller that I have used is nothing but a proportional controller. And if you use a proportional controller, it actually affects the time constant of open loop system. So again, I'm not just going into the technicalities because we haven't started with a controller chapter, but just to give you a small feeling of what is controller is. So I'm just talking about it. So what I'll do is, I'll believe that I don't know what is a controller, I don't know what is a proportional controller, so I'll just go in a way, or I'll solve the problem with my existing knowledge. So what we will do is, we'll first of all get the overall transfer function of a closed loop system by reducing this block diagram. You know that when blocks are connected in series, the transfer function is nothing but, overall transfer function is nothing but product of two blocks, am I right? And then you know what, after reducing, we will have only one block in a forward path. In reverse path, we have unity feedback. Again, by using formula g upon 1 plus gh, I'll get a closed loop transfer function. So what I have to calculate is w of s upon r of s. So after multiplying these two, what you will get? You'll get 10 Ka upon 1 plus 10s. So this becomes overall g, and the formula is g upon 1 plus gh, but since h value equal to 1, don't forget h value equal to 1. So the value of g is something that I have written over here. So it is g whole divided by 1 plus g. So 1 plus 10 Ka upon 1 plus 10s. So just solve this. You'll get this way, which is 10 times Ka divided by 1 plus 10s plus 10 Ka. Or I can write this way. Am I right? So what I have got in the last step, let me rewrite again. The transfer function that we have calculated so far is 10 Ka whole divided by 10s plus 1 plus 10 Ka. Am I right? So you know what, I have to really compare with a standard first order system. If you remember, a standard first order system, K value equal to 1. In general, the first order system is written this way, K upon 1 plus s tau. Now the question is, why to convert in this form? To convert in this form, the reason is we want a time constant form. Let me tell you, this is called as a time constant form, where I'm getting the expression in terms of tau. So I have nothing to do with tau if it is not mentioned in the question. But let me remind you, the question is regarding your tau concept only. That is nothing but a time constant only. You have to reduce your time constant with 100 times as compared to the open loop system. So here it is essential to get the value of tau, but you know what, in the denominator it should be 1 plus s tau form. Here it is not so. So what I'll do is I'll convert this into 1 by taking this factor outside. So what I can have is 10 Ka divided by 1 plus 10 Ka I'm taking out. What remains inside? 1 plus 10 divided by 1 plus 10 Ka into s. Am I right? So by comparing, I can say the coefficient of s is nothing but tau. So here coefficient is 10 upon 1 plus 10 Ka. So this is nothing but, the time constant. So time constant that I have is 10 upon 1 plus 10 Ka. I hope you got my point. So this is nothing but, tau for a closed loop system. Okay. So what I'll do over here is I'll just write CL at the bottom so as to identify this is a time constant for closed loop system. So the requirement is that your closed loop system time constant should be time constant of open loop system divided by 100. Am I right? See, the time constant of closed loop system, it should be 100 times. Okay. In fact, they are saying reduced by 100 times as compared to open loop system. Therefore, the relation is tau, that is nothing but time constant for closed loop system should be time constant for open loop system divided by 100. I hope you got my point. But then we haven't seen what is the time constant for open loop system. So as you can see, this is nothing but your open loop system, which is alone this. Am I right? You know what, Ka is extra added so as to reduce the time constant. Am I right? So the open loop transfer function, I can say, is just 10 upon 1 plus 10s, or in fact if you want I can just take this Ka over here, there is absolutely no problem, and then just compare the denominator with 1 plus s tau form. So tau for open loop system is equal to how much? 10. So since open loop system tau is equal to how much? It is 10. Then I would say that tau CL, that is nothing but time constant for closed loop form, should be 10 upon 100, which is nothing but 0.1. Am I right? So what I'll do over here, I'll just substitute in this expression which we already had for time constant for closed loop system. So 0.1 is equal to 10 upon 1 plus 10 Ka. I hope you got my point. So in this equation we have only one unknown, which is nothing but Ka. So Ka, after solving, we'll see it comes out to be 9.9. Let's go back to the options and try to find which is the correct one. So you will not find 9.9, but you can find the approximated value because they were asking you approximated value of Ka. So what it matches with option C. So option C is the correct option. I'm sure you have understood this problem. So let's start with the next problem. GATE 2015 problem it is. The output of standard second order system for unit step input is given as, which is 1 minus 2 by root 3 e to the power minus t cos of root 3t minus pi by 6. And then the transfer function of the system is, so what they have provided us, output y of t, which generally we call as c of t. So what I'll assume now, this is c of t. So whenever you have either cos or sine, if you remember, you get this only in case of either underdamped or undamped. But if it is undamped, it is only sine or only cos without, exponential term. If it is along with some exponential term, then you should remember this is nothing but underdamped response. So let me write the standard expression for underdamped response. What it was? It was 1 minus e to the power minus zeta omega n t divided by under root of 1 minus zeta square sine of omega dt minus 5. Am I right? So here they have not provided sine, but they have provided cos. You don't have to get confused. You don't have to really require to convert cos to sine. There is absolutely no problem. Only phase shift is going to change. Am I right? Because there is only 90-degree phase shift between sine and cos. You know very well. So there is absolutely no need to convert sine to cos or cos to sine. So you have to compare the given expression with this c of t. So this is nothing but a standard expression for second order system in underdamped case. Simple. So let us try to compare this. What I'll get, the first information is omega d equal to root 3. Of course, unit is radians per second. Then, if you compare this, here coefficient of t is 1. So I would say zeta omega n is equal to 1. Am I right? Next, the coefficient, that is 2 by root 3, can be compared with 1 upon root over 1 minus zeta square, and this whole is equal to 2 by root 3. So in this case, only zeta is unknown, am I right? So just solve it. You'll get value of zeta to be 0.5. So value of zeta is 0.5. Now you know what? Since the value of zeta is known to you, you can just substitute over here and get the value of omega n. So zeta omega n was equal to 1 and zeta equal to 0.5. It means omega n is equal to 2 radians per second. Am I right? So this information is enough for us to write the closed loop transfer function. Don't forget, they're asking you a closed loop transfer function. Am I right? So let us write transfer function. If you remember, it was omega n square whole divided by s square plus 2 zeta omega n s plus omega n square. Am I right? So let us write this. Omega n value is equal to 2. I can write 4 in the numerator whole divided by s square plus, what I want is zeta omega n. You know what? Zeta omega n is equal to 1. So it is multiplied with 2. It becomes 2s plus again omega n square should be there, which is 4. So this is nothing but the overall transfer function or a closed loop transfer function for a second order system for the given data. Let us see. If you compare carefully, it is option D. Am I right? Very simple problem, right? Let's move to the last problem. Consider the following block diagram and calculate percentage MP. MP stands for peak overshoot. So what they want is percentage peak overshoot. Very simple. To calculate percentage MP, or you know what, other time parameter like delay time, rise time, peak time, settling time, please remember that you must have a closed loop transfer function. Until and unless you get a closed loop transfer function, you cannot calculate those time domain specifications. So from the given data, what I'll do is I'll try to get a closed loop transfer function. Note that here h of s is not equal to 1, but it doesn't matter. Let me tell you, I have to get a closed loop transfer function for this, which is, I believe this is g of s and this is nothing but h of s, and we have negative feedback system. So let us use c of s upon r of s, which is equal to, so just solve this, g upon 1 plus gh is the formula that you have to use. So it is 3 upon s into s plus 2 whole divided by 1 plus 3 upon s into s plus 2 multiplied by 2. So c of s upon r of s, what you will get is 3 upon s square plus 2s plus 6. Am I right? So let us compare this with a standard function or standard transfer function for second order, omega n square upon s square plus 2 zeta omega ns plus omega n square. Now, if you compare this, you'll get value of omega n, zeta and so on. But now the real confusion begins here, because from the denominator if you compare omega n square equal to 6, and from the numerator if you see omega n square equal to 3. So confusion begins which omega n square to be taken into consideration. So let me tell you very clearly. Even though the expression over here, it is nothing but a standard transfer function, the actual transfer function that we have may not be in standard form. May not be in standard form means the numerator may not match with omega n square. So for that, you are requested to always compare only denominator of the transfer function that you have with the standard transfer function. So after doing so, omega n square will be equal to how much? It is 6 and not equal to 3. Please understand, don't ever compare numerator of standard transfer function with the transfer function that you have already. Always compare only denominators. So here omega n square I got value as 6, or I can say omega n equal to root 6. I hope you got my point. Similarly, coefficient of s is 2 zeta omega n in standard transfer function, and what we have over here is 2. So this 2 gets cancelled. The value of omega n, let us substitute and get the value of zeta, which comes out to be 1 upon root 6. We know that it is a unitless quantity. Please don't forget that. So why I have calculated zeta? Because percentage MP formula demands it. It is e to the power minus pi zeta whole divided by under root of 1 minus zeta square multiplied by 100. So value of zeta is known to you. You have to really substitute in a calculator that you have and get the value. So if they ask you only value of MP, it comes out to be 0.2538. But then since they are asking you in a percentage, multiply by 100, you'll get 25.38% as your percentage MP. So the percentage MP that they were asking, it is nothing but 25.38%. I'm sure now you have understood all these problems and now you are quite comfortable with first order as well as second order system. Of course, by end of this session, I mean the whole session or a whole subject, we will be having extra problems which are based on gate, or extra problems on every chapter I'm going to take at the end. So before that, I have taken or I have given you some glimpse, or I have taken the problems which comes in gate. So only simple problems I'm avoiding to solve. So those simple problems, and then along with the extra problems, as I said, and I have promised that I'll actually have this extra session at the end of the complete shoot. Thank you.